If you're in the market for a used EV, you might find that it's a little bit bewildering, the amount of choice there is at the moment. I'm here at a supercharger in Dartford to talk to Jonathan Porterfield. We've known each other for a while. I got our Nissan Leaf and our e-Niro through Jonathan. He knows a lot about used EVs. Let's talk to him and find out what he would choose as his picks for the best EVs to get for various price ranges. Hello.
Hello, fancy seeing you here.
Right, this isn't my car. Hey, Monty.
He is just the softest thing going.
You are adorable. I'm here with Jonathan Porterfield. You'll know Jonathan Porterfield, I think, because I've mentioned him several times on the channel before. We got our Leaf and our e-Niro through Jonathan and his company at the time, Eco Cars. Jonathan knows everything about the used EV market, so I thought now would be a good time to pick his brains and ask about what are the best EV buys on the used market right now. So, obviously we've got a special love for the e-Niro,
Yeah.
so I wonder whether we'll mention that. But let's, we'll do some price brackets.
Yeah.
So what should we do, up to 5,000? Is that ambitious?
Yeah, no, not at all.
Okay, so we'll do up to 5,000 and then up to 10,000 or up to 20, up to 30, and then all the luxury cars for people that can afford it. So where should we start? At the top end?
Well, let's start at the bottom and
Let's
work
start.
up.
Okay, let's do that. Okay, so up to 5,000.
So you've got the trusty Nissan Leaf,
Yeah.
which you've got the 24 kilowatt hour and the 30 in the old shape. My strongest advice is don't buy a 30 kilowatt hour Leaf because it cooks itself, and that's another story or another video. But basically, the 24 kilowatt hour Nissan Leaf, built in Sunderland, not the early Japanese Leaf. So I'm really going to geek out now. So the early Japanese Leaf from
I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say.
from 2011 up to sort of 2013. If they've got a white interior with an electronic handbrake, then that's a Japanese built Leaf. And that had a slightly older, not so resilient battery chemistry. So the ones that were built in Sunderland tended to have the dark upholstery and a foot handbrake, and an eco button on the steering wheel. That's how you know it's a Sunderland Leaf.
Okay.
That's got a better battery chemistry with what's called a Lizard battery pack. That basically meant, like a Lizard, it could react to temperature changes a little bit better.
Okay.
And doesn't degrade as fast as the Japanese Leaf. Having said that, you can get some Sunderland Leaf with the optional cream interior,
Okay.
which tends to fox people a little bit. But just look, if it's got an electronic handbrake, it's Japanese.
Right.
If it's got a foot brake, it's built in Sunderland.
I wonder why they got rid of that. Why did they get rid of that?
The electronic handbrake,
Yeah.
it's a bit temperamental.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think the cable activated handbrake was cheap to produce and a little bit more, sort of a bit more reliable.
Okay.
So that's the trusty old Leaf that you can now get for up to £5,000. Sort of going back in time a little bit more, you've got the Mitsubishi i-MiEV, which also was built under license by Citroën and Peugeot as a Peugeot Ion or a Citroën C0. I think they all had Toshiba batteries in them, and cracking little cars. In fact, if I was wanting to drive around a city, I'd rather take a Citroën C0 or a Mitsubishi i-MiEV or a Peugeot Ion, all one of the same car. I'd take that in a city over a Leaf because it's so manoeuvrable.
Because it's so small.
Because it's so small, and its turning circle is brilliant, and it's really nippy.
Do they have rapid charging?
Yeah, it's CHAdeMO on one side, and the other side was obviously just Type 1. Great little cars. I sold dozens of them back in the day. Heater will gobble your range. It's basically a 3-bar electric heater, resistor heater. But if you can get past that, amazingly efficient and a good solid, mechanically solid EV. The only thing that tends to attack them is rust. So I think that because they were all built in Japan, they didn't do a huge amount on rust proofing.
Okay.
So if you do look for a 2011, 2012, 2013 Mitsubishi i-MiEV and its clones, just check for body rot.
Right.
But mechanically, battery-wise, they're just brilliant.
Okay. What have we got next? Up to 10,000.
Yeah, so up to 10, and perhaps a little bit of 5 is the Renault Zoe. Now, our friend Nick Ramo loves the Zoe.
He does.
And we've always had this thing, me and Nick, is I've always been a fan of the Leaf, and he's always been a fan of the Zoe. We've always had this sort of battle between us. I don't like the Zoe. It's just I've just come from France. It's a bit French. It's a bit weird, and not the most reliable. And the whole battery lease thing was just bonkers, which eventually they got rid of.
What's the big thing with the Zoe that can go wrong?
It's before they bought in CCS. So the 22 kilowatt and the 40 kilowatt Zoe just had Type 2 AC only charging. And that onboard charger was called a chameleon charger, which basically meant it could adapt to whatever it was receiving, which was quite clever. But if that onboard chameleon charger goes down, you're stuffed. And it's a really expensive fix. Now, there are lots of heavy garages around that know what fail on the onboard charger on the Zoes. Renault, like any franchise dealer, will just say it's going to cost you £4,000, £5,000 to put a new inverter on. Go to a heavy garage and they can rip it all apart. I think it's like a 50p capacitor on a circuit board that needs replacing. Put it all back together and it works and it's fine. So just be aware that the onboard charger on the Zoes can be a bit temperamental.
So if someone's going to get a Zoe, get a rapid charge one, you would say?
Yeah, so you need a 50 kilowatt hour.
Yeah.
And again, even with the 50 kilowatt Zoes, not all of them had rapid charging.
Oh, right.
It's for a long period of time, it was an option. And then when they came to run them out, I think all the GT line spec had them as standard. But the French are it's very confusing. Has it got rapid charging or not? And it's not always clear when I see them advertised on Auto Trader or I see them at an auction. A lot of the auctions, other than Showroom, don't actually show you the charging flap at the front with both flaps open, so the CCS part and the AC part. So you just got to be careful that you don't buy one without CCS.
Okay.
And you might say, well, I don't need CCS rapid charging. You probably don't. But when you come to sell it, I can almost guarantee when you come to sell it, whoever wants to buy it is going to want one with CCS.
Yeah.
So
And I always worry, I don't think any EV should be sold without rapid charging.
it's bonkers.
Yeah.
It was like the Renault Kangoo van, great little van. The 22 kilowatt hour was okay as a van, and then the 33 kilowatt hour, again, no CCS rapid charging. And even the Renault Master van, I bought an electric version of that, no CCS, which is just bonkers.
I had to help some person at a grid serve once. They had just bought I guess it must have been a used, could have been an ENV 200 or something like that, but it didn't have any rapid charging.
Yeah.
And he's there saying, how do I plug into the charger? And I was just, my heart was sinking.
Yeah.
And I had to explain to him that he just bought a van that is going to take 8 hours to charge or whatever it is,
So it's the old adage, if it looks too good to be true and it's so ridiculously cheap, there is a reason why it's really cheap. And 9 times out of 10, it could be a Vizia ENV 200, which didn't have rapid charging as standard. The Ascentas and the Tecnas did. So you just got to make sure you've got that rapid charging ability. So, like I said, even if you're never going to rapid charge, when you come to sell it, it will be something that people will want to know if it's got it fitted.
Okay. So, next price bracket, what have we got? 10 to 20?
10 to 20, good old E-Nero.
Good.
It's just out of all of them. Or the Ionic Wind Knife.
Yeah.
So, the smaller one, the 28 kilowatt hour and the 38 kilowatt hour, both amazingly efficient.
Am I right in thinking the 28 kilowatt hours has a better charge curve or something like
I
that?
think it does, yeah. I think so. And I think Hyundai stepped it back a little bit. I can't remember for what reason. Like the architecture it's built with, I don't know. But they're both really efficient, and they're nicknamed the Wind Knife for a reason, because they just cut through the wind.
Is that the most efficient EV, do you think? Even more than Model 3? The Model 3 is very efficient.
Yeah, I think it is. It's just the whole... To me, it looks like a beluga whale, especially the 28 kilowatt hour. It's just ugly as sin, but it's just it just cuts through the wind. It's just so efficient. I can't remember the drag coefficient on it, but I think the new Model 3 might be slightly better, but for that price bracket, they're brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful car, yeah.
And they've got thermal management as well, so you hear a fan coming on which is a plus point for Hyundai and Kia over the Leaf and over the Nissans. I think the Argh has got thermal management now, but the previous generations of Leaf haven't got that thermal management.
Yes.
Which is a big downside. We could talk all day about.
We could talk all day about the Leafs. And in fact, because I wanted to say that the Leaf, the 30 kilowatt hour Leaf, it doesn't allow you to stop at 80% when you're charging.
No.
They removed that for some reason. So I think that didn't help matters either. So you get a lot of used 30 kilowatt hours where they may have been sat at 100% for a while, which is not good for a battery and certainly not good for Leaf batteries.
Yeah.
So that's another reason to probably avoid the 30 kilowatt hour.
Yeah. And I think manufactured cars are a bit like people that support certain football teams. I know you're not into sport and I'm not. It doesn't do anything for me, to be honest. Although I'm from Leicester and apparently Leicester won some sort of football thing a few years ago. But, you know, people get very tribal about car brands. You know, well, I've always had a Vauxhall, I never have a Ford because my uncle's half-brother's nephew's neighbour, his Ford Cortina blew up, so I'll never touch a Ford. And that's particularly what blokes are like. They get very tribal. But if you just want an EV that just gets you from A to B as efficiently as possible, then look past the badge, because they're an entirely different kettle of fish to the ICE versions, and go on what previous owners have found and experienced, and don't be too blinkered about what you think about the badge at the front. Case in point, I'm taking over a bit now, I'm sorry, is the Volkswagen E-Up. That's another one that's in a really good price bracket. So you get them for now for about 10. Cracking little car. But there's also the Mitsubishi. They've got the Volkswagen E-Up, and you've got the Skoda Citigo and the Seat Me.
Yeah.
All the same car, all built in the same factory, just with different badges on the front.
Yeah.
And you'll pay about £1,000 to £1,500 more for something with a VW badge.
Right.
But everything else is identical, and that's because people are a bit badge snobby. They think they're getting a quality product with Volkswagen over a Seat or a Skoda, but it's the same car.
Same car, yeah.
Because Volkswagen own Seat and Skoda. So
yeah,
don't let badge snobbery pull you back from getting a really good, efficient EV.
Okay, good tip. Can I just quickly segue, well, going back actually to the Nero,
Yes.
Is there anything to worry about with Neros? Someone messaged me the other day saying they had a choice of getting a 60,000 mile e-Nero for a little bit less. It was a 4+ trim, so a good trim. Should they get that one, or should they get one that's done less miles but is a bit more expensive? And I said, well, high mileage wouldn't worry me at all.
No. It wouldn't be. The only thing, I suppose, with lower mileage, you've got 100,000 mile or 7-year warranty on the e-Nero. So if you got something with 60,000 miles, which wouldn't bother me at all, you'd have the same range of performance as something with 20,000 miles, but you've got that extra peace of mind, so to speak. But if you're only doing 5,000 miles a year, then buy the 60,000 mile one, because you won't go over 100,000 miles right up to the 7th year when it's run out of warranty. So mileage is not like an ICE car. You know, the pistons haven't got up and down that many more times in a high mileage one compared to a low one. And like you've said, if anything, if you get an EV that's only been driven down to the shops by a granny, but it's sat at 100% for weeks and weeks on end, that's a worse buy than something that's got 60,000 miles and it's been used every day.
Yeah, right.
So high mileage is sometimes a good thing as opposed to something that's not driven anywhere.
I agree. Yep.
100% definite.
So what's the next category? 20 to 30?
20 to 30. So if you want the latest shape, you could have the Nero EV, and then you've got the EV6 and all the offerings from Hyundai. It's just down to what you like the look of.
Because it's quite a crowded
it is.
category, that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
See, I would go Ioniq 5, but then also you've got loads of Model 3s and Model Ys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Massive choice.
There is a lot of choice.
Just go for what you like the look of. But if you want efficiency, Hyundai, Kia are still the efficiency heroes, other than the very latest Teslas, which are really efficient.
They're also really good at predicting the range, or it's not really a prediction as such. It just, when you look at your guessometer, whatever range it says there, it's not going to be too far off that, is it?
The guesstimator in this is just brilliant in the Nero. Like now, so we're at 94%. It's saying 224 miles. And that's because I've been hammering it down the motorway to get here today. So, you drive it around town at 94%, it might say 280 miles, and it could be absolutely spot on accurate.
Yeah, definitely.
Big fan of the Hyundai and Kias.
Yeah, me too.
For that sort of price range.
So now we're going a little bit more expensive. What do you see going through the auctions? Because Jonathan, if you look at Jonathan's channel, he looks at the auctions and he sees all these different cars coming through, and you get a lot of high depreciation, luxury premium cars, don't you?
So the beautifully looking BMW iX things that look like a beaver at the front. I can't imagine. I can't understand how someone at BMW signed that off as a good-looking car, because I just think they're so ugly.
They really are.
And they're not very efficient, but they're high-end, and it's a BMW, and it's very luxurious inside, and all the bells and whistles. So they're quite popular. They're £30,000-40,000 for people that want a BMW badge.
What were they new? I mean, they're 70, 80?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, depending on what sort of trim levels you auction them for. It's the same as the Audis, the e-trons and all the others. See a lot of those going through.
What about the Q4? Is the Q4 any good?
I've not actually driven one, but my take is that all of the Audis and the German cars, they look amazing. They've got massive tyres on them. They weigh probably 2.5 to 3 tons. They're just not very efficient.
Yeah.
So you're getting like 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour, or perhaps 3 if you're really careful. Whereas the Nero will do, 4 without even trying.
Yeah.
So it's no different to buying a high performance, supercar or a Rolls Royce. You don't buy that for economy, you buy it for the luxury. So, if you've got that sort of money to spend and you want a nice luxurious EV, then you've got the Audis and the BMWs and the Porsche Taycans.
The Taycan is what I'd get.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my lottery win car. Yeah. Although I showed one to my wife today and she said, "My God, that's ugly." But she texted me the other day, saying, "Oh, what's this?" And I said, "It's a Taycan." She said, "Wow, that's amazing." Sees ones today, ugly. So if money was no object, but you're looking at, there's no object, but you're looking at used cars and you've got loads of cash to spend, what do you get?
It's all down to the individual. I personally would quite like a new Model Y. I think the improvements they've done, and you did an excellent review on it, and it looks quite attractive, but I don't want to blow 46, 47 grand on a car. I'll wait till they come through as used at auction.
Yeah.
And we don't know what's going to happen to Tesla over the next few months anyway, but I personally have still got an itch for a Model Y, so that's an itch I'd like to scratch. Reason being, it's quite high off the ground. Perhaps 5-10 years ago I would have had a Porsche Taycan, but when you get old, it's too low on the floor.
It is too low. I know.
I get in and out of the car and I'm groaning even in this, But I want something high up. So we're all different. I've had my midlife crisis. I bought myself a Lotus Elise 10 years ago.
Lovely.
Got that out of my system, took it on some track days and stuff. So it all depends what you want, what floats your boat.
Yeah, no, I'm just about to hit the midlife crisis. Yeah.
Embrace it, it's great.
Yeah, I'm dipping my toe into it already. This is why I primed my wife about the Taycan, you see. Just because I thought she might say yes. Even the Cyberster, the MG Cyberster, because I fancy a top down car. It must be terrible efficiency and all that, but or MX-5, right? But they don't make electric MX-5s. Otherwise, I'd get that in a shot.
Or buy one and get it converted.
Or could do. There we go. That's the thing to do, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. If I'd pot some money, I'd probably buy a nice classic car and send it to what's that guy in Wales? EV Classics or something. Anyway, but to convert.
Lovely chap.
Yeah, to convert something to electric, a classic car would be cool.
It would. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
It's great to see you.
And you. And you.
Yeah.
And if you've got any questions for either of us about certain cars, then put them in the comments.
We will have left something out. Someone will now be screaming at the screen going, "You've not mentioned MGs." We're not mentioned MGs.
We haven't mentioned MGs. I haven't mentioned the i3.
Yeah, i3 is a cracking car. If you live near the seaside, like I do, the i3 won't rust. It's all carbon fibre.
It's carbon fibre.
You've got aluminium bits of suspension, so the i3 is a great car. Not very efficient on the motorway because it's shaped like a box fish, like a brick.
it's also a little bit juddery because it's got the
Yeah.
thinnest wheels
Stunning
ever, isn't it?
wheels.
Yeah.
They're very efficient.
Very efficient.
Great round town. Great
Yeah.
turning circle. I love the
Brilliant
i3. Yeah. So there's lots of cars we probably haven't mentioned. MG, just very briefly. MG5, James of James and Kate.
Yeah.
They've got a fleet of 10. And I think several of them have got over 150,000 miles. And nothing's gone wrong.
No, and if you look at their if you look at their videos,
Yeah.
when he walks around inspecting it, and he's the seat is maybe
Yeah.
tearing a tiny bit or something, but that's it really. I mean, there's
It's on the
nothing
same
else.
brake pads and discs. And
Yeah.
awesome. So MG5. If you don't like something that looks beautiful, just a workhorse, MG5. In fact, the whole MG range is brilliant. The Chinese are coming. Well, the Chinese are here.
Yes.
Great value EVs.
Yeah, definitely. Wonderful. Thank you so much,
We
Jonathan.
could talk all day.
We could talk all day. I know. Now I'm desperate for a pee, actually.
Yeah, me
It was
too.
all the- Anyway.
I daren't stand up.
No, I know. It's that kinked hose. Okay, good. And on that bombshell, thank you very much for watching. Please press subscribe and the bell icon to be notified of other videos. And I'll be back very soon. Hopefully I'll be with Jonathan in Orkney one of these days as well.
Cool.
All right, bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you.